everybody, it is Dr. Erin here, one of the good doctors of Abbey Research, and welcome to our latest Abbey Research Reads. For today's book review, I am talking about Generation Z, A Century in the Making by Corey Seemiller and Meghan Grace. We spend a lot of time talking about generations here at Abbey Research. We've done research projects on kind of the transition between generation before Gen Z, millennials, my generation, and Gen Z. And this book is, I would argue, a seminal work in understanding the generation that is coming particularly into the workforce now. Anyone born in Gen Z, generally speaking, between 1995 and 2010, a lot of places, including Pew Research Center, make it a little bit later of a start date for, I think Pew goes from 97 to 2012. But Seemiller and Grace make a really cogent argument for why 1995 is an important start date. But the book is based on a lot of the quantitative statistical generational research that they have done as academics. And it is a fundamental resource for understanding a lot of basic elements of this generation. And so I really recommend it for kind of starting a conversation about Generation Z. There's a lot we can't say about them because they're still so young. So particularly their engagement in the workforce, what they want from employers, how they're going to change the workforce. We're not going to see that for another, probably another decade, really, what that impact is going to look like. So the book was published in 2019, and it provides a lot of context, which is another reason why I think it's a significant read. It talks a lot about the influence of previous generations. They make an interesting argument for comparisons between Gen Z and the greatest generation, or as they call it, the GI generation, which was born from 1910 to 1924, and a lot of similarities between life experiences, growing up during a major recession, and having that economic impact on the way you see the world. I think that's one of the most important things we can learn about generations. And particularly, they do a great job of exploring that in this book, is the idea that the significant events we experience in our adolescence shape the way we see the world and the way we interact with it. So for millennials, that was in large part 9/11, the school shootings that took place in the 90s and into the 2000s, Hurricane Katrina and the Great Recession in 2008 were huge, huge, impactful events. And certainly for this generation, even being younger during the Great Recession, a lot of them don't have any memories at all of 9/11, but would have significant memories of the impact of the recession on their livelihood. And, you know, as an example, that has made them a lot more risk averse than millennials. But I mean, the big elephant in the room, this book was published last year, was that they could not possibly foresee the global pandemic caused by COVID-19 and the impact that that is going to have on this generation. So read this book with that asterisk. The number of times I wrote next to their comments or analysis, yeah, but COVID. They don't make a lot of firm conclusions, which is fair. We don't have all the information we're going to need on this generation. But there's a lot of questions that can be asked of their analysis going forward. And we will be using this book and talking about it a lot as we look more at multi-generational workspaces, specifically here for Abbey Research. But that is all I have for this Abbey Research Reads. Highly recommend Generation Z, A Century in the Making, because they're going to, be the future leaders in a lot of workspaces. And the more we understand how different generations think and feel and act and view the world, the better we can manage and lead from that perspective. So I will leave you with that. We will see you all for our next book review coming soon. Take care.